I would say it's probably anywhere from $30 to $100, depending on the facility and what's involved.
The $30 to $100 price, that's per specimen that we're talking about, right? Yeah.
We're very good at getting heart, lung, liver, because we know that. So I'm not going to crush that part. I'm going to basically crush below, I'm going to crush above, and I'm going to see if I can get it all intact.
Welcome to the second episode of our special broadcast on Planned Parenthood. You saw in the open, you know what the issue is. Planned Parenthood, the largest provider of abortions in the United States, that's not shocking news, we've known that. What we now know is that they are harvesting human organs, the organs of these children, hearts, lungs, kidneys, and putting them into the streams of commerce. And they're doing this as they terminate the life of the unborn child. But we want to take a look back also. We're giving you the current situation, the current problem, but let's take a look back on the fight for life. And it started on the sidewalks.
So I'm praying, and many of these pastors are praying, that Christians will, for lack of a better word, just get mad over what has taken place. And there'll be a great outcry from believers that this cannot happen. Our constitutional rights of free speech and free assembly must be protected so that we can continue sharing the gospel and praying wherever we are as believers.
And we pretty much got all of them dismissed by utilizing the legal system in the appropriate way, and the state could not prove its case.
Well, we literally clashed philosophies in the street. We would have maybe sometimes only 15 or 20 people outside an abortion clinic. We might be on our knees praying. We might be carrying signs. We might be making announcements through a bullhorn.
I am here to make a statement about the integrity and the value of every human life, regardless of its condition of dependency.
And the police would come and set up a police tape and keep the other side, the pro-abortion side, on the other side of the police tape. So you would literally have these two lines facing one another. There's usually a little space in between. So you'd have the pro-life side and the pro-abortion side literally nose to nose.
It was very intense. As we gathered, the pro-choice movement and all of their friends gathered against us, and it was some incredibly intense times on the streets. And when you look back on that footage, people were having their arms broken. Police departments didn't quite know what to do. It was really an extraordinary time.
And it could get pretty nasty. There were times when I was punched.
We were spit on.
I was spit on. On one occasion, I was urinated on.
Urine thrown in our face.
As I knelt to pray. And the people doing the urinating were saying we have AIDS.
Kicked.
But we had cigarettes put out in our hair.
Clubbed. It goes on and on, because for the first time since '73, I think the pro-choice movement recognized, oh my gosh, this is something really serious.
The moral obligation is absolutely clear. We must protect unborn children. It's an issue of life and death. But we also need to stop giving our federal dollars to Planned Parenthood. And I say that especially in light of the new evidence that has come out, where Planned Parenthood is harvesting organs of the children they're terminating in the womb and getting those organs to organizations that sell them. It's selling body parts. We've got to stop it. The federal government needs to stop it. We've got a petition up at aclj.org. It is very clear. If there was ever a time to defund Planned Parenthood, this is that time. I'm going to encourage you to go to aclj.org and sign that petition. You could also call us at 1-877-989-2255. That's aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255 to defund Planned Parenthood.
You already know that the nation's largest abortion provider, Planned Parenthood, received $1.5 billion in taxpayer dollars in the last 3 years alone. That money frees up other funds so Planned Parenthood can perform hundreds of thousands of abortions. Now, a startling and gruesome revelation. Planned Parenthood is now harvesting body parts from butchered babies. A A senior Planned Parenthood abortionist has been caught on camera detailing how they crush the baby, altering the abortion procedure so they are, quote, very good at getting heart, lung, liver. Then they sell the baby's organs. It's time to stop this abhorrent practice. Stand with the American Center for Law and Justice and demand that Congress defund Planned Parenthood. No more taxpayer dollars for this abortion giant. Call now, 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255. Or add your name online, aclj.org.
Heart, lung, liver, because we know that, so I'm not going to crush that part. I'm going to basically crush below, I'm going to crush above, and then I'm going to see if I can get it intact.
You're watching our special movie we put together called Choosing Life. Obviously, we've updated it with the situation that now exists with Planned Parenthood. We know they're the largest provider of abortions, but we now know that they are selling or putting into streams of commerce the organs harvested from these children that are killed in the womb. This is an abhorrent practice. It's disgusting. It needs to stop. And we're doing everything we can at the ACLJ to have it stopped.
I had gone down to New York for the Democratic National Convention in 1992. Of course, Bill Clinton by that time was the presumptive nominee for president for the Democratic Party. The media attention and so on was focused on what the pro-lifers were going to do.
The abortion controversy is heating up again this election year in the courts and in the streets.
Harley David had a 19-week-old child, a boy, who was the product of a saline abortion.
Harley Ballou from Texas took the baby, went downstairs. We were staying in the same hotel that Governor Clinton and his party were staying in, and we knew that he jogged every morning. So Harley went downstairs, stood outside the door where the governor would generally exit the hotel to begin his morning jog. With his Secret Service detail, of course.
I had a newspaper and a pen in my hand. I had the child in my other hand. And the governor got into his limousine, seemingly ignoring me.
President Clinton gets back out of the car, approaches Harley Ballou.
And Harley said, "Would you sign my newspaper?" And Governor Clinton obliged. And at that, Harley removed the newspaper and exposed the child and said, "Governor, this is an aborted baby."
And I pulled baby Nathan up as close as I am to you now, and I said, "What about the babies, Governor Clinton?"
Of course, Harley shows Governor Clinton the actual unborn child. He's horrified.
He paused for a moment. He looked at the baby. He looked at me. He took a hard look at me, as if to say, "Who is this man that's done this?" He took a long, hard look at me, and then he threw my paper at my feet, and he walked to get in his limo. He got partway in his limo, realized he had my pen. He stepped back out and slung my pen at me. He said, "Here's your pen." And he sat down, and his jogging partner sat down beside him, and I called out to him. I said, "Governor, this is the results of choice. It's not just rhetoric, it's human lives."
Well, we turned on CNN, and it was already playing on the news, and of course they were reporting it all wrong. They were saying Harley had thrown the baby at Bill Clinton. That was not true. He had always respectfully cradled the child in his hands. So we decided to hold an immediate news conference.
This baby was presented to Governor Clinton, not just because he is now a presidential nominee. There's another reason, because at one time, as is becoming clearer by the day, Governor Clinton once embraced a pro-life ethic.
We were subsequently detained by both the Secret Service and the Metropolitan New York City Police.
And then we have, of course, all of the litigation that came from that.
Terry was charged because an anti-abortion activist presented Bill Clinton with an aborted fetus during the Democratic National Convention. The judge in the case has said he would appoint a state prosecutor to pursue the criminal case.
I had 2 hearings, one in New York and one in Texas. And to get from New York to Texas, I had to have access to a private aircraft because I had to be there in the same day. Of course, Pat was the founder of the American Center for Law and Justice, Pat Robertson, and we had to have his blessings to do it. Not only did he give us his blessing, he put the resources behind it. I did a hearing in New York in the morning, and then CBN had an aviation department at that time, and they took this little, it was a little tiny Learjet, a little small, it sat like 5 people, and they flew me in an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, from Manhattan, Teterboro Airport, actually in New Jersey, to Austin, Texas. I appeared in the district court in New York in the morning and the Texas Supreme Court in the afternoon.
Three sites.
Was he on the sidewalk?
Yes.
So it was a public forum?
Yes.
That's how I'm going to argue
No, I
the
think
case.
it was in the street, wasn't it?
That's fine, street or sidewalk, either
no,
way.
Street, he wasn't.
You didn't mean
exactly
that
his
this
words. He said
injunction
it was no
should be
big deal.
applied to public forum free speech. I mean, if they were blocking it with the baby or
That's
something, it's all,
perfect.
well, yeah, but, you know, not this. Oh, you do mean it was this? Come on. New York. It's my stop.
They did. I'm driving down the turnpike and I hear on ABC News yesterday, a federal arrest warrant has been issued for Reverend Mahoney, Mr. Terry. I'm driving down the turnpike. So it was a pretty crazy day.
We were followed here by the NW. They're making a big thing about a mill flip flop. His credibility is really in question. This is the time to hammer him. He's really in his heart. He's pro-life.
All right, can we talk for a minute? What about the meeting at the conspiracy thing, the meeting at the bar?
We're telling him everything.
Okay.
Well, listen, this is what I want to talk to you about. Let's get a couple things in the open, because here's what I think you should do, and I'm being your conscience also on this one. You could raise all kind of 401 defenses, and we can make them have it. Forget it.
No, we're going right for the jugular.
This is a cover-up. You're trying to deny free speech. If
On a public forum.
If we were homosexuals presenting him with complimentary condoms, we would be embraced.
Or burning an American flag.
Right, that's what I'm using.
Or bearing our breasts like the women have been
Yeah, this is
doing
a
all
First
throughout the
Amendment
city.
case. This was on a public sidewalk. Yeah, there was a conspiracy to conduct protected speech activities.
Exactly.
And your order's unconstitutional. Now, Your Honor, of course, I think what it is you didn't mean for it, of course, to say that.
So you're giving
You
it a
didn't
way
mean that it would violate a public forum. You're saying that they blocked the door to the convention center and showed up the baby. That would be one thing.
Jay's giving him this way out, so he goes, "You're right, Mr. Sekulow."
No, I didn't know this was the public
Right.
forum on the
Right.
street. I mean, you can burn the flag, you can show the baby, protected
See,
symbolic
so that's a key thing. Jay is giving him this
I'm gonna
way out.
I'll give a way out. But
If not, we'll just go.
But let's
for
wait,
the throat.
or else we could go
I'm ready
under
to stay in
402. We
jail.
could go under 402 and get a jury trial 3 weeks from now. Forget it. It's mine.
No, we're going right for the. We're going to be. Look, we met
We're going
Saturday.
as political prisoners.
Right.
And the beautiful thing is we have it documented. Saturday, Randall said on the sidewalk, our whole purpose for being here is to show Governor Clinton the victim of choice and place a child in his hands.
Right.
Do you know originally?
Why? So that he can be brought face to face with the reality.
So this is
of what
would you consider this symbolic protest?
Absolutely. Of course. This is speech. This is redress of grievance. We're showing him this is what abortion is all
Was your
about.
intent to convey a particular message to Governor Clinton?
Our intent was to bring him face to face with an aborted baby so that he could see what abortion is. Take it out of the realm
Would
of
your
rhetoric
opinion be
into
that
the
there
realm
would
of
be
reality.
that people in the area would have known that's what you were doing?
Of course.
Was there
It
other
clear
protests
on
going
the-
on there? Were there other
There were
protests?
rescuers that were distinct.
No. Were there other protest activities and speech activities going on right around there?
Well, Al Sharpton
Outside the
did
Hotel
something.
Intercontinental, yes. Reverend Al Sharpton marched by, right by the hotel with 1,000 people.
The
You were all there?
No.
Well,
You're not allowed to be there. You have to go at separate times. But Al Sharpton went by. The
This
AIDS
was at a
protesters-
free speech zone.
a public sidewalk.
Well, at that time, the Secret Service had not cordoned off this area.
No,
And the Secret Service came
would
over
it
and
be fair
looked
to
at
say,
it.
Mr. Terry, that the unborn child is the symbol of the pro-life movement?
Of course, that is why we
That
exist.
is the
That
message?
is why we
Is that
exist.
your
This
message?
is a baby. This
Could
is
there be
not.
anything more symbolic of the pro-life movement than
It's
showing
not
an
just
unborn
symbolism. It's just like when they used to
Keep
bring
using the word
black.
symbolism.
It's not. It's symbolism, but
Message.
it's more. It's like when they used to bring slaves up from the south and take them through northern cities and show the scars on them
But
so
it's,
that people
but it's,
could
but it's
see.
still a symbol. I mean, for our point, it isn't.
It's
but
the
legally-
message, though.
But it's still it's symbolism. I mean, we weren't threatening Clinton. That's the.
Why were you showing it to Clinton?
So that he could see what the victim of choice is. Aborted babies, dead children.
You were trying to communicate a message.
Yes, the message is that abortion kills real human beings. This
Were
is
you
not
trying to
blah.
embarrass him?
No,
Offend him?
no. Although I hope that he is offended
You
by
could
the
say
fact
yes
that
to those
babies
if you
are being.
wanted to.
Yeah, I hope that
that he is offended by the fact that babies are murdered. And I hope that he's not embarrassed but ashamed that he supports the murder.
This is a free speech case.
Harley's going to the basement.
You give it a shot anyway.
I just wanted to office here, all right. There's probe works outside. They follow, so.
You just let me use that for obvious purposes. But not to say you weren't intending to.
Here's the hook, Randy, with the media. The press release says this that went out. Operation Rescue leaders subpoena Democratic presidential nominee.
Right.
That's what the press
That's
release
what
says.
last night.
That's the hook.
I haven't seen it picked up anywhere yet, though, have you?
Oh, CNN called me last night. There's a million press people out there. What are you talking about?
Okay, that's what I said. Nobody knows about it. It's going to be very quiet. It's going to be a real...
I called his first act as nominee is getting subpoenaed by Operation Rescue. You gotta say that. They call him that early. They sought out. I mean, these guys are dying.
This is going to be a monster. This is bigger than us actually giving it to him. This is why Abrams is so stupid.
And I mean, you think Clinton wants this? The most joyous day of his life, and now the first thing in the morning. Good morning, Operation Rescue. Please come down to testify in federal court.
We are winning this because it's a human rights issue. But you've got Planned Parenthood right now on the march in Washington, D.C. They know they're under the spotlight. They know they're under the congressional oversight now because everyone knows that they have admitted that they are basically putting into commerce human organs from the children they're aborting. Hearts, lungs, livers, kidneys. They crush the head of the child and harvest the organs. And how is that legal? We want to close that loophole down and we want to defund Planned Parenthood right now. You go to aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. This is a brand new petition. You urge Congress to take immediate action. No excuse for Planned Parenthood's actions here. This was their head of their medical director that was talking about how they distribute these body parts, these human organs. aclj.org or 877-989-2255. We have a lot more ahead.
You already know that the nation's largest abortion provider, Planned Parenthood, received $1.5 billion in taxpayer dollars in the last 3 years alone. That money frees up other funds so Planned Parenthood can perform hundreds of thousands of abortions. Now, a startling and gruesome revelation. Planned Parenthood is now harvesting body parts from butchered babies. A senior Planned Parenthood abortionist has been caught on camera detailing how they crush the baby, altering the abortion procedure so they are, quote, very good at getting heart, lung, liver. Then they sell the baby's organs. It's time to stop this abhorrent practice. Stand with the American Center for Law and Justice and demand that Congress defund Planned Parenthood. No more taxpayer dollars for this abortion giant. Call now, 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255. Or add your name online, aclj.org.
Because we know that, so I'm not going to crush that part. I'm going to basically crush below, I'm going to crush above, and then I'm going to see if I can get it intact.
Welcome back to the broadcast, everyone. You know, when we're fighting for life, whether it's in Washington, D.C. or in U.S. district courts around the country, sometimes you come face to face with a judge that has a very different view of the law. Well, that's not unusual, but sometimes they become the cheerleader for the other side. And that's exactly what happened in Wichita, Kansas. The judge was Patrick Kelly. I was in front of that judge, and I made a motion you don't make often, but I asked the judge to recuse himself. When they saw the National Organization for Women and Planned Parenthood saw that, in fact, they weren't going to succeed in the state courts, they moved it into the federal arena and decided to file civil rights action on behalf of these women and their own organizations against the leadership of Operation Rescue. We end up before the chief judge of the court, the federal court in Kansas, Patrick J. Kelly, and Judge Kelly became very aggressive
An angry Judge Patrick Kelly said his orders to prevent demonstrators from closing down 3 anti-abortion clinics there would be obeyed. And federal marshals saw to it that they were.
They'll be arrested on the spot. They'll be brought to my court, those leaders. And by the evening, they'll be right up to Sedgwick County Jail. And if they have thoughts of being home by Christmas, they can forget it.
We hadn't even had the hearing on the contempt order, whether the injunction was violated. And he instructs me and others and tells them, tell your clients to bring their toothbrush. And he actually said this on national television as well.
Say farewell to their family and bring their toothbrush, and I mean it, because they're going to jail.
A judge can use his raw power to try to stifle the movement, but God has raised up a move of his spirit here that no man can stand against. None. None.
You know, we're called to do Nightline, and they tell me that the other guest is going to be Lawrence Tribe from Harvard University, and he's in an air-conditioned studio. I'm asked to go to the abortion clinic. About 10,000 protesters are there, pro-lifers. It's 104 degrees, and I'm asked to do it in front of the abortion clinic.
Joining us now from Wichita is the attorney for Operation Rescue, Jay Sekulow. And from our Boston affiliate, WCVB, Harvard University law professor, Lawrence Tribe, an expert on constitutional law. Mr. Sekulow, I want to ask you a question. When you say that you're the attorney, but that you don't tell your clients what to do, behind you are a great many people. I can just see a few of them who are obviously have followed you tonight and know that you were speaking, so that it is more, is it not, you have more than just the role of the attorney looking at the laws. You are advising those people behind you.
Barbara, I am here at this site because your office asked me to come here. I am the attorney. I would have been happy to do this in the studio. You all wanted the dramatic effect. You got it. There are thousands of people and millions across America that disagree, that say abortion's murder. And the fact of the matter is, what this case is all about are people speaking out. And in America, we have the right to speak out. Now, Judge Kelly disagrees with me. I respect that. But Judge Kelly knows that when he asked me to talk with my client, what I told him was I would inform the court of the order, the consequences of violation, as I am obligated to do as an officer of the court. But I don't have to go the next step, and Judge Kelly understood that, I believe. I am representing my client zealously. Maybe what's unusual here, and in this issue, is there's some zealous representation, which maybe has been long overdue.
They don't tell me that there's a third guest.
Joining us now from our affiliate, KAKE in Wichita, is U.S. District Judge Patrick Kelly.
The third guest ends up being the federal court judge who's hearing the case, Judge Kelly.
And my order will bring this to a close. And if these people take up tomorrow, and this lawyer will not tell them that they must follow my order, then tomorrow we'll see. But as I promised to them this week, if they take up again tomorrow, if they continue with what they did before, as opposed to today it was peace, they'll all be in jail. And I promise them that I will no longer listen. I try to work with them, try to reason with them, and I cannot reason with this lawyer. I begged him to turn to them and tell them, please, that you have an obligation to obey the law, and he will not.
That was inappropriate on the judge's part and caused, quite frankly, a significant change in litigation posture as well, because now we had Judge Kelly on Nightline debating the points with me on air, which was just absolutely inappropriate.
Are you going to take to the streets tomorrow? Are you going to be in front of those clinics?
I am the attorney representing these people. I'm not the client.
I wish you could get a commitment from him of that. I'd like to know myself.
Okay, could you answer us tomorrow, just that question? Are you going to be in front of the abortion clinics tomorrow, sir?
Our clients are going to do what they think's right. I am not in a position to say what the clients are going to do. I'm telling you what we're legally doing. We've already appealed this on an emergency basis to the 10th Circuit. We do not get satisfactory relief there, Barbara. We are going to the United States Supreme Court. That's the bottom line.
What happens tomorrow or next week?
Well, tomorrow, if all holds, there'll be peace in this city. If these people elect to go back out and do what they were doing as recent as Saturday, by tomorrow night they'll all be in jail. It's that simple.
Obviously, this is a most important case. We're happy to be able to present some of your views tonight, and certainly the whole nation will continue to follow it and to see what happens, especially tomorrow.
I could probably close your show by saying what one of the lawyers on the steps of the court said this morning, that what we need is a new judge.
I end up going the next day into court, go back into chambers. Judge Kelly gives me this hug. He was very jubilant that we were on, national TV. And I said, well, Judge Kelly, you've gone from being the umpire to the cheerleader for the other side, and you really can't do that. And I said, I'm going to have to ask you to recuse yourself. He refused to, and I took it up to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals on an emergency order, and they ordered his recusal. And it became a really significant case on federal judges and their ability to be unbiased. And we take those cases up to the Supreme Court of the United States.
Well, that's going to do it for the broadcast today, but I want to recap here. We're giving you the history of the pro-life movement, but we're also telling you what the fight is right now today. And that is Planned Parenthood was caught. We know that they are the largest provider of abortions in the world. We know that they take the unborn child's life. We know that they crush the skull of the child. We know that they'll basically institute poison into the womb to destroy the child. But now we know that they're harvesting the organs of that child and putting that child's organs on the marketplace. It's got to stop. It's abhorrent. It's disgusting. And we're paying for it. It's time for it to be over. This is the moment to defund Planned Parenthood. I'm going to urge you right now to call us at 877-989-2255 or go to aclj.org and sign that petition. This is the moment of truth. aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. It's very simple. Not a dollar of our money goes to Planned Parenthood. aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255.
You already know that the nation's largest abortion provider, Planned Parenthood, received $1.5 billion in taxpayer dollars in the last 3 years alone. That money frees up other funds so Planned Parenthood can perform hundreds of thousands of abortions. Now, a startling and gruesome revelation. Planned Parenthood is now harvesting body parts from butchered babies. A senior Planned Parenthood abortionist has been caught on camera detailing how they crush the baby, altering the abortion procedure so they are, quote, very good at getting heart, lung, liver. Then they sell the baby's organs. It's time to stop this abhorrent practice. Stand with the American Center for Law and Justice and demand that Congress defund Planned Parenthood. No more taxpayer dollars for this abortion giant. Call now, 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255. Or add your name online, aclj.org.
Long liver, because we know that, so I'm not going to crush that part. I'm going to basically crush below, I'm going to crush above, and then I'm going to see if I can get it intact.